60. Wow, that's actually pretty quick. This is a very small random truck, and that thing is pretty dang quick with this upgraded engine. Before this video begins, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Also, be sure to check out my affiliate links down below so you can get discounts on different car mods and products. Alrighty, let's get into the drive. Hello and welcome. Today we are driving a 2022 Ford Maverick XL. This is a non-hybrid with the upgraded 2.0 EcoBoost engine. I would like to thank Flood Ford Lincon in Narragansett, Rhode Island for allowing me to test drive this Ford Maverick. Their link is in the description below. Alright, so I'll give you a quick rundown, but the vast majority of details will be available in the previously uploaded video with a full review out on the channel of this Ford Maverick. So this is a Ford Maverick XL Super Crew with seating for 5 and is a 4-door model. This is finished in gray with a black cloth interior, currently has about 8,000 miles and stickers around $32,000. This weighs about 3,700 pounds curb weight and 5,200 pounds gross weight. This has a $435 optional EcoBoost 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, making 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. This is not the hybrid model, but does have an upgraded engine choice. This is an all-wheel drive model with 25 mpg city and 29 on the highway. This rides on 17-inch steel wheels with 225 wide tires on them. And this does have 4-wheel disc brakes with permanent locking hubs. This can tow up to 2,000 pounds and more with an optional package on top of it, and has a 1,500 pound payload. This has a 4-foot 6-inch bed in the rear, which is just over 4 feet wide, and this does have about 8.5 inches of ground clearance. This rides on front strut suspension and rear short and long arm suspension. Alrighty, all the rest of the details are currently out on the channel in my previous full review of this Ford Maverick. But let's get this out on the road and take it for a drive. So this does have a rotary dial shifter, which is a bit interesting. So that's pretty, saves a lot of space actually, which is really good in this kind of a truck. So who this truck would be for is people such as like DIY people would love this truck. This has an insanely attractive price point. When supply chain issues are a bit better, the base model of this starts around $22,000 when a new average vehicle today sits over $45,000 new. So this is really impressive. As a value proposition. It does have the upgraded engine, has an 8-speed automatic. I'm not quite sure what it shares this 8-speed automatic with. I don't know what else uses an 8-speed right now. But just from that initial impression, it does have a digital speedo. This thing is pretty easy to drive. Of course, it's low to the ground-ish, and it is a small little truck. No blind spot monitoring. It does have automatic high beams and emergency brake assist, but this does have, while it does have heated side mirrors, it does not have power side mirrors. Because once again, this is a base trim, but it does happen to have an upgraded engine choice. Alright, so right here we're going about 40 miles an hour. Wind noise is actually very low, considering this is basically a work truck, a mix of like a DIY family work truck. This is riding very impressively so far. It has 225 tires. They're not too skinny, they're not wide, but they suit this size truck pretty well. Visibility is pretty good. It has relatively thin A-pillars, and then the rest is a truck, so it's really easy to see out the rear window. And then also the sides are pretty boxy as well. It's like a unibody truck construction, so it's very easy to do. Yeah, I'm going 50 miles per hour right now, and it is very quiet in here. I'm surprised. It's not silent. There is wind noise. It's not like sound deadened very effectively, but it really is on the quiet side right now. You can hear a bit more like around the windshield and such, but it is really not bad. The brakes are actually very easy to use as well. They don't have a very far travel distance on the brake pedal before it has to brake, of course, harder. But they're very confidence inspiring. They're very, very tight braking and does a very good job at stopping this little truck. And going through some bumps, you do feel it a bit. This isn't going to be a big off-roading truck, but it's actually pretty torquey down low. Of course, with this upgraded engine of 277 pound-feet of torque is very much, so that's good. Now let's, once we get around this corner, let's just stomp it a little bit, see what it sounds like up high. Okay, sounds good. And we're already almost at 60. Wow. Yeah, this thing is definitely a good bit quicker than the hybrid model would be, which has closer to like 160 and 180 horsepower and torque. So, of course, this is going to be much more exciting to drive. And yeah, body roll is okay. There is a little bit. It's not too much, but it does have a little bit. It's not quite as tight handling as, you know, a sedan would be of a similar size. But this is impressing me greatly so far. It rides very smooth, dead and straight. Even with the 225 tires, it actually rides very well. Yeah, body roll is definitely there, but it feels pretty stable going through corners. The engine actually sounds decent up high, but it's very quiet below about 3,500 RPMs. It's very quiet and easy to live with in that respect. The brakes are very good. I am also impressed by these brakes. I personally was very excited to test drive this Ford Maverick because I've been waiting for about 3 or 4 months now. Current time of filming is early December 2022, but these Mavericks have been selling very well. Usually not even sitting on dealership lots, is why I haven't been able to get my hands on one yet. So people are really buying these up. They've really hit a good market, even though they have the full-size F-150 and they have the mid-size Ford Ranger, which is getting much larger as time goes on. Yeah, it really, really is a pretty good target market they actually reached. So that's nice. As for the steering wheel here, this is not going to be a leather-wrapped wheel. This is the base model. It does have a rubberized steering wheel, but it feels okay in the hand. Has some bolstering. Does have, of course, a backup camera right there. Has a rotary dial shifter, saves some space because this has a lot of nice little storage cubbies and bins around it. The backup camera isn't the best quality, but that's not anything Ford specific. A lot of different cars have been having kind of weaker cameras than expected, so that's nothing new, nothing too bad. And this one is acceptable. It has moving parking lines as well. But yeah, this thing drives very, very smooth. And of course with this engine, look, I'm not even hitting 3,000 RPM, I'm already at 40. That is very quick. They put almost an overpowered engine in this truck, I might say, in my opinion. I like it. I like this. This is pretty enjoyable to drive. But I'm not sure too many people are seeking out an engine of this power and thinking this will be a more exciting thing to drive, because it's actually not that bad. I do enjoy driving this. It rides pretty well. Going through bumps, it only rides on a front strut, you know, short and long arm suspension in the rear, so nothing too crazy for there, but it's pretty good. It doesn't shake you around or thrash you too hard. Let's come to a stop and do a 0 to 60. This is an all-wheel drive model, so if we get any wheel spin, it should counter that. Wow, that's actually pretty quick. This is a very small random truck, and that thing is pretty dang quick with this upgraded engine. Of course, with you know, almost 100 horsepower difference, 80 to 100 or more in both the torque and horsepower numbers from the base model with a hybrid engine. This is pretty exciting to drive. I'm actually happy I got to drive this upgraded model. Maybe I'll drive the hybrid at some point in the future as well, when they become more plentiful, but this is a pretty playful little truck. Steering is moderately light, but it's pretty direct actually. I wouldn't call it numb. I wouldn't call it exactly like tight engaged, but in the middle, it's pretty easy to deal with. Then for your gauge cluster, it's part digital, part analog, has a digital speedo with a multimedia screen, which is nice. And then you get an 8-inch touchscreen with a simplified version of Ford's Sync system. And it makes it very easy and simple to use, gives it appropriate technology for what this should. And for moderate acceleration right here, I'm already at 50 right now, so that is really good. I like driving this truck. And once you get above 50, 55, wind noise does become more plentiful, but it's really not that bad either. Like, they're not trying to make this, you know, dead silent with sound deadening, but overall, I think it's already at a pretty good baseline. It's on the quieter side. It's not too bad. It drives really smooth as well. Like, I'm on a well-paved road right now as well, somewhat well-paved, but it really does ride very smooth. Doesn't shake. Steering wheel is as still as can be. If you do some inputs into it, it's a little slow to reply, as you can see. It's not like so much of like a sneaking effect, but it's just a little bit of a delay. It's more of a gentle input. But I would feel very safe in emergency situations with this truck because the braking is very impressive. Very good grabby brakes. And yeah, overall, I'm very much liking how this drives. On a personal basis, I think this is a really nice value proposition because they didn't necessarily have to make this. Ford didn't really have to make this Ford Maverick because they have the full-size F-150 and Super Duties. Then they have the Ford Ranger below that, which is a bit smaller and more, you know, more family-oriented than like a heavy-duty work truck. But this thing is very small, but it's already attracted a great amount of buyers. People going on like Home Depot runs would like this, put some pieces of wood in the back, put some tools. You could use this for harvesting some firewood, taking it to the dump on the Saturday or something, or whenever your trash day is. I think this is a very interesting value proposition for a lot of different people, especially when supply chain issues lighten up. This has an MSRP, this like particular model with the hybrid motor, but only about 500 more with this upgraded motor, of around $22,000 in 2022. That's a really, really impressive price point because even a new Civic is usually more than that, like 25, 27. And then you get into medium trims and it's above 30. So yeah, this is a very capable little truck, but it comes at just an amazing price point, in my opinion. And it's kind of in a class of its own. There's not too much anywhere close to $20,000 new right now, actually. So this almost really does stand apart from most of the competition. There really aren't too many subcompact trucks like this in the North American market right now. The other small one is going to be kind of the Hyundai Santa Cruz, is more similar built to this with like the unibody construction. But there's not, that's more of a midsize. That's definitely much larger than this, of course. It's even larger than a Ranger, I believe. And this thing drives really well. This upgraded engine makes it really a blast to drive. And yeah, I am very, very impressed with this this little Maverick right here. The brakes really also impress me. Like, unexpectedly great braking comes from the pedal right here. If you stomp on it, of course. It's pleasant going all the way up. I like the 8-speed. It actually shifts on the quicker side, which is good. It stays down low. There aren't really drive modes too much to this. It does have a low mode. It's all-wheel drive, so it's always active on that basis. But no shift paddles right here. It's not, you know, focusing on being a sports truck, of course, but in this upgraded engine choice, I really enjoy it. And yeah, going here about 60 on a kind of rough road, you know, you're bouncing around a little bit. It's not like throwing you around. It takes bumps like a little bit more of like a smooth like dip than it doesn't feel like you're ever crashing through them or anything. And in a lot of ways, this drives like a sedan, and it actually drives more exciting than most sedans. This has more power than most of them, yet it's just about their size. So I really do like this thing. And then also in the rear seat, it does actually have a lot more room than I was expecting. I tested it out in the review. You can go get some more details there. But I'm about 6 feet tall. I have pretty long legs, so I'm not exactly short. I'm not crazy tall, but I have both tons of headroom, and I can actually tuck my feet pretty deep under the seat, as well as have some knee room. They did a pretty deep cutout, expecting for it to be more of a usable rear seat. So it's actually definitely doable to sit back there for a good while. Going into corners like that, 20, 25, it's pretty reliably comfortable doing that. Drives impressively tight for what it is in most situations. It does have some body roll, but I think the 8-speed on this upgraded engine is a great pairing. At some point I hope to drive the hybrid and make some more comments on that setup as well, because that gets an amazing miles per gallon setup. It's a crazy efficient hybrid system. But yeah, this with the 2.0 EcoBoost engine, I really like it. And that's gonna just about wrap up this review of a 2022 Ford Maverick XL with the upgraded engine. I would once again like to thank Flood Ford Lincoln in Narragansett, Rhode Island, for allowing me to both review and test drive this Ford Maverick. Make sure to check out my full review, currently out on Radial Reviews. Alrighty, so my final thoughts, I just think it's a very small truck, but it has a lot of capability to it, as well as it can tow around 2,000 pounds with even the base engine and this one. And if you get upgraded towing package, this upgraded one can do closer to 4,000 pounds, which is a pretty good number. Especially you can tow a little trailer, tow a small boat. So yeah, I think it's a very good value, very nice price point, and overall a moderately complete truck. So I think it would be great for a lot of different people. As always, drive with passion. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.